In this video, I'm gonna rank the neutral units from Heroes 2, not necessarily among each other, but I'm gonna try to assign a tier for each one of them and see where they might fit among the normal units. Alright, let's start with the Rogue. 6 attack, 1 defense, which is like peasant level, man, that's very bad. 1 to 2 damage range, so like a goblin, let's say. 4 hit points, just like a skeleton, and he's fast, and also the enemies cannot retaliate against the Rogue. So all of this seems to indicate a tier 1, for example, so I think that's fair. Now, that attack is quite strong. That means that if he attacks, let's say, tier 1 creatures, then there's a significant bonus damage going on there, almost guaranteed. But also combining it with your own hero's attack, that's kind of nice. The damage range is not that high, 4 hit points is kind of okay, and speed fast for a tier 1 creature, that would be actually the best initiative because you ensure the first cast almost guaranteed. Only, well, if you fight only against tier 1 creatures, but what are the chances of that happening? I'm not sure. So I'd say it's a tier 1. This is the ranking. If you haven't seen these other videos, you might get spoiled, but anyway, the Rogue might be, let's say, better than Goblin for sure. But that no retaliation ability is like a sprite, but the sprite still flies, is still very useful. The Rogue, I mean, yeah, it can deal some sort of burst damage for tier 1 creature level, let's say. Has quite decent health, but I don't know, let's say probably below the sprite from my point of view. And it's not like you can get so many of these guys. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't necessarily use rogues that much, but it depends on the map. If it's really clutch, if it's really, if the resources are scarce, if you don't have that much growth but people are rushing you, okay, but it kind of depends. I don't have that much experience with this, but maybe here seems fine. Next up is the Nomad with 7 attack, 6 defense. That's kind of similar to a Griffin, I think. 2 to 5 damage range, so that's interesting. 20 hit points, seems like a tier 2, and very fast speed, so it's great initiative, right? A 6 speed or initiative, very nice. So yeah, the Nomads, it could even be, let's say, like a low tier 3 creature, but the thing is, maybe looking at the stats, it could be similar to a Wolf, you know? The Wolf has better damage range, somewhat, stats are kind of ridiculous, and same hit points, same very fast speed, but the Wolves have 2 attacks, right? So that's like 6 to 10 damage range in a sense, right? But more clustering towards that average value. The Wolf is definitely better. Maybe just, let's call it tier 2 for the Nomad. So I would say probably it's better than a Boar, that's for sure. Now this guy, he flies, he's really good, has what, like 7 defense or something like that, 4 attack, I think. I don't know if I would put the Nomad above the Gargoyle, but still kind of is tier for this one. As I've said, kind of potentially even a low tier 5, tier 3, but maybe this is fine for the Nomad. Pretty good, right? The next is the Ghost, which in the manual would look like a tier 3, but that's not. This is where it becomes nonsensical, that's why. It's not that straightforward, right? But still. So the stats really don't matter, right? Except for the speed and hit points, I guess, but well. But the ability, man, creatures killed by ghosts become ghosts. And that is so broken. It's the best. Like, this is tier 6, tier 7, tier infinity. It doesn't matter. If you get ghosts, it's an expansion thing to get ghosts from the Barrow Mounds, right? But if you get ghosts, it's game over. Unless it's something super situational, like the enemy has ghosts as well, and it's kind of like a race who gets more ghosts faster. But that's ridiculous. Obviously, the best strategy imaginable is to, I mean, does strategy even matter if you got ghosts? Maybe not, but still, the optimal thing to do, if you get Haunt as a spell, you haunt your own mine, go in there only with ghosts, everybody becomes a ghost. So you farm that, you get more experience, you get everything, bro, it's an easy, no, GG no re, right, essentially. But you know what the best optimization would actually be that I just thought of, but it works so well? Well, you can speed up the process even more if you get the best spells imaginable, but it's highly situational, obviously. It's the best possible scenario. So let's assume you've haunted a mind, right? And you have 100 ghosts or something, and you have a ton of knowledge, right? That's all you need. Knowledge, maybe some spell powers to make the haunt better. So let's see. Now, obviously, the If Heroes 2 mod actually kind of sees this as well, which is very interesting, kind of smart, but it doesn't do it completely optimally, I don't think so. So, here we go. Best case scenario. You have Mass Low, Mirror Image, and Dispel Magic. There we go, absolute cinema. Because, well, First of all, you mass low, just to ensure that not every ghost is attacking you, and then you start using Mirror Image, because much like how the Necromancer can generate skeletons from a dead Mirror Image, ghosts can actually feed off of that. That's absolutely incredible. So that's all you do. You just Mirror Image, you wait, okay? Don't act with them, or maybe you could. You just could. Let's say you move closer, just such that one guy will be able to attack that, and now, at this point, well, maybe you dispel magic. Let's say you dispel magic as well, and you start attacking this, right? Just attack. Obviously, you're super strong, so just move away from the other ghosts, and just attack this dude, right? And you just get his other ghosts, right? So you effectively almost double your amount just from this, right? Almost double. Let's just say we move away, it attacks us with retaliation, boom, there it is, double the amount. Alright, well, guess what? Another mirror image, you let it be destroyed, you just keep doing this, and you essentially get 2 to the power of however many times you mirror image. So isn't that interesting? There we go. So the mass low thing is just there to ensure that we mirror image once we doubled effectively, because otherwise you might lose some stuff, or through retaliations you kind of destroy the guys. But still, you just move away, easy. They don't have your stats, because your hero is definitely way better. So would you look at that? And you kind of get my point, right? Even more ghosts, bro. That's 5,000 ghosts, man. That's 5,000 ghosts just from, like, what, 6 mirror images I think I used. Bro, that's insane. That's absolutely interesting. Obviously, it's the perfect possible situation, but it's still very interesting. So essentially, you get 2 to the power of how many mirror images you actually had to use, and you can still do this, but obviously you won already, so who cares, but still. Since we're talking about ghosts and haunt anyway, I thought about another thing that I completely missed when I was playing this family reunion map a few days ago. So, here we go. With that strategy, I could have gotten a lot of ghosts, but you know what else I could have done? I could have turned a mine into a pseudo-giga tree of knowledge, in a sense. How? Well, I get a dude, and I'm like, hey bro, could you please hold these, I don't know, 17,000 ghosts for me? Thank you. Alright, and since I have a mirror image, I could just go in, haunt the mine to try to get more experience than normally, because apparently the experience that you will get is always capped at the number of ghosts that are in the mine when you step into it. So even if I do the shenanigans, I mirror image and whatever, right? I don't get more experience than 2,000 because that's the initial stack of ghosts that have been haunted. However, you know what you could do? Easy, simple. Mirror image, let them feed off of that, and then, obviously, you retreat. So, that could be very interesting because, let's just do that, right? Boom, now they have 17,000, which is insane, right? But if I defeat this, if I win this battle, 2,000 XP only. However, let's retreat. Ooh, very interesting. Oh, the mystery deepens. So, at this point, we get them back, we get the ghosts back, and now it's gonna be insane. Here we go. Like 350,000 experience, bro. This is insane at this point, right? So you can just do this. That's it. I'm locked here. That's insane. That's absolute cinema. It must be. So, wow, but I missed it completely. But anyway, right? Also check out the tier 2 spells tier list as well, where I talk about haunt and whatever, right? But if we would ignore everything else, right? Ignore this ability and look at the stats like 8 attack, 7 defense, 4 to 6 damage range, and 20 hit points. I kind of understand the manual in a sense. It's kind of like a tier 3 creature. It seems true. But I think they had in mind only if you attack ghosts. Maybe it's not an expansion thing, right? The manual might not take into account the expansion at all. So if you don't get ghosts at all and you just fight them, it could be a tier 3 in a sense, right? But because that's not the case, bro, if you can get this, the highest tier imaginable. I'm not even going to rank it because it's so high up there. It's just it left this planet a long time ago. Anyway, then we have the Genie, which has 10 attack, 9 defense. That's kind of on par with a Unicorn, so that's already pretty good, right? 20 to 30 damage range. That's like a Giant or a Titan. Very good. Tier 6 level. 50 hit points. That's kind of bad, right? That's low tier 6, like a Paladin, for example, or, well, high tier, let's say 4, like almost an Ogre Lord or something like that, but kind of depends. Good initiative, very good, very fast, 6 speed, but also it has this ability, 10% chance to halve the enemy unit. So if you, let's say, hypothetically, you attack a Black Dragon that has 20 dudes, right? If you get lucky, but that's a big if though. that stack becomes 10, right? So you destroy a ton of resource investment, let's say, and you might win the game just like that. Now, how often does that happen? Well, not often at all, right? 10%. I mean, if you're overly optimistic, you're like, hey, 10%. Hey, that's not too bad, right? It's not 1, it's not 0 point something. Yeah, but if you flip it, it's 90% chance of failure. That's not good, all right? Now, the strategy would be, if you get genies, yeah, this is also a thing. Like, I didn't speak about cost or growth because it's needlessly complicated from my point of view, because it's like, well, if you're, it's dependent on so many things, right? There are so many variables involved that I might have to spend 1 hour talking about every single situation in which something might be marginally better than something else, right? Also, I'm going to go crazy, which is not something that I want necessarily. So there's no point. But when it comes to the genie, the growth is actually very important, because how often do you have like a lot of genies? Not often at all, right? Some maps don't have genies at all, right? No lamps, nothing. And even if you find a lamp, what? You get like 4, and then the lamp disappears. So that is quite something. Now, I don't know if you can farm it. I've never tried it. But if you find a lamp and you don't get all the genies, like if 4 are available, you get 3. You let that lamp sit. After some weeks, do they regenerate? I don't know. I have never tried that. But anyway, the strategy here would be, if you get, let's say, 5 genies, very ambitious, but still very optimistic, but still, if you get 5 genies, you split the stacks into 1, and you try your hardest to get super lucky to destroy the enemy's biggest stack. But unfortunately, I don't think that works very well. If you don't have a problem with save scumming, like you just save the game, you load, I mean, you're playing against the AI, right? You save the game, you try a battle, you didn't get lucky, okay, I'm gonna load until I get lucky, then it's pretty good, right? Very nice. But if you don't do that, it doesn't work that well. So let me show you what I'm trying to say here. So this is it, the dream scenario, right? Well, what exactly are you gonna do here? Well, you try to get lucky, right? So let's see how that plays out, right? Nice, didn't get lucky. Well, now, unfortunately, because of the turn order, because the Black Dragon, for example, is very fast as well, he gets the cast, he gets the turn, right? I attacked with 1 dude and now I need to wait. So, what about this guy? If this guy has decent spell power or anything, look, if he has any AoE damaging spell, it's kind of bad, right? And the worst case scenario, even if you Elemental Storm or Armageddon and you lose these guys, you don't lose 10, you don't give the enemy the possibility to destroy your Black Dragons. Like, it's so easy. Armageddon, boom, everybody dies. Chain Lightning, everybody dies. Even a Death Wave, which is 10x power, these guys are squishy. I mean, relatively. 50 hit points. Guess what? You know what? Death Wave, I'll accept it. Ooh. What happened with the genies? Oh, what happened? Nothing, right? You didn't get lucky. That's a 10% chance, right? Like, it's, now, obviously, if you are more strategic or you're even more lucky, but even that's kind of ridiculous. Look at this. Even the quick combat is like, yeah, didn't get lucky. It is what it is. So if you are in the best possible case scenario, maybe, let's say, you have a mass haste from somewhere. You got lucky. All right, we mass haste. Hey, look at that. Now we're blazing. Now we can get actual shots in. But even then, okay, didn't get lucky. That's fine. It's fine. It's all good, guys. Oh, got lucky. But even then, that could easily not happen. Because, I mean, you have 5 attacks. What even is that? The expected, let's say, ability trigger would be the 0.5, right? And I think the chance of you getting lucky, in 5 tries, each having the 10% chance, would be like 40% or something like that, probably. I don't know. But still, look. Got lucky once. Hey, that's pretty good. But if I try it again, if I try it many times, man, most of the time I'm not going to get lucky. That's the biggest issue. And now this guy just, Armageddon's, boom, easy. No, nothing's going to happen anymore. So, yeah. Obviously, it's super optimistic if you are going to get lucky. Now, this is super significant, right? So you might as well just go for it, of course. But in practice, I don't think it works very well. I guess you could just use more heroes, put 1 genie only on each hero, you attack that guy with dragons, and then you ensure that all of them get to attack. That's kind of ridiculous because you assume that the AI is going to be dumb enough to see you doing that and not flee, right? Or maybe they don't have vision, but that's also situational. Like, there are too many conditionals. Like, it's this situational thing combined with this situational thing, combined with this. Like, bro, what are we talking about, right? It's not if we're considering the best case scenario for every creature, then everything is an S almost. It's interesting because, if the enemy has genies, you can even hypnotize them to try to get lucky with that attack. But even then, it's kind of, man, if you don't get lucky, then you might be destroying yourself with that. So I'm not sure if it's that worth it. Or, I don't know, you berserker, stuff like that, it depends. But the genie, all things considered, would be probably high tier 5 or some sort of probably tier 6 still. Even if I'm as pessimistic as possible, it's probably still tier 6. Based on the stats, it's better than a paladin, let's say, better than the Cyclops, the Crusader. The Crusader's obliterating him, but his main thing here is just to have the stack, right? That's all he can do, right? In terms of damage, it's kind of like a giant. It's way squishier. It has 3 times less hit points, right? It's very fast, obviously, right? So he gets the drop on these guys. Damn. I don't know. It's really nonsensical. It's like combining attack and defense of a tier 5 creature plus damage range that's pretty good. You don't have that much growth. You'll have like 4 guys probably in the entire game. You'll lose them easily to spells. The enemy will focus on the genie for sure. So if you don't get lucky, right? If you don't get that 10% chance happening, then the enemy will surely just lightning bolt and they're dead. And then you don't use them anymore. So what exactly, it's really bad. It's kind of not that useful compared to these other guys. It's kind of a special case. Probably below below almost everything in terms of growth, in a sense, or utility, but it could be a game changer in niche cases. So it's very difficult to rank, but let me just say, probably here, right? The Crusader's crazy. On small maps, the Paladin's kind of even better than the Crusader, but still. Something like this. Probably, Then it's the Medusa, 8 attack, 9 defense, so it's kind of like a Hydra, let's say. 6 to 10 damage range, so a bit lower potential than the Hydra, which has 6 to 12, and also attacks everybody, or has the potential to do so. 35 hit points, kinda okay-ish for the tier that I'm thinking of. Speed average only, so that's kind of bad, and 20% chance to turn the victim into stone for the combat. So it's similar to, let's say, a blind, but it might be worse because that petrification, it allows full enemy retaliation, and it lasts 3 turns as well. And I don't think it has any other effect, like the petrified dude, the stone dude, having more defense or something like that. I don't think that happens, but I'm not sure. But anyway, no, this guy the Medusa seems similar to, let's say, kind of like a unicorn in a sense, which is not too high, but it's in tier 5, obviously. But that average speed is kind of bad. Hit points are only 35, but you can get a lot of them, and it's very useful, right? It's a free, let's say, tier 5 creature, Medusa. Pretty good, actually, all things considered, but let's think about it. This is the ranking for tier 5, so this is pretty legit to me. Now, the thing is, the Unicorn has 7 to 14 damage range, so pretty much a lot more, right? Even if it's blessed, it deals way more than the Medusa. Has more hit points, blinds enemies, so it's kind of similar, and it's fast as opposed to this. But obviously, again, neutrals are kind of in their own category in a sense because you get more of them just for gold as well. You don't have an investment of let's say, a building also. So that's kind of interesting, right? It's an additional thing that can turn the tides in a game. But still, standalone as a creature, I don't even know what the growth is, like 5 per week for the ruins or whatever they're called. Yeah, probably below the Unicorn, I would say. Even compared to this guy has 30 health, right? It's very fast as well, and has 5 to 10 damage range. Isn't that interesting? But it doesn't have a petrification effect. Yeah, maybe somewhere in between, like the Cavalry and the Unicorn seems fine for the Medusa, from my point of view. But obviously I've used these guys very much, and very often, and they have helped me out immensely. But this seems fine. Middle tier 5, probably. And then we have the Elementals, which are kind of interesting. The manual kind of puts them here, indicating some sort of tier 6 or in between tier 5 and tier 6, which is kind of ridiculous from my point of view. Now, this is an expansion thing, right? Recruiting Elementals. So I don't have that much experience with that because I played the expansion only like 3 months ago for the first time. But in that level 5 spells tier list that I've done on the channel, I've ranked them based on, the Summon Elemental spell, right? And I've ranked them because I still think there's a hierarchy. Mainly, not necessarily because of stats, because they're kind of similar. Like, look at this dude. 7/7, 2 to 8 damage range. So Bless would be super important, or Curse could be devastating. It's like 60% more or less damage than the average value. Very fast, 35 hit points, stuff like that, right? 8, whatever. They're kind of in the same tier, probably, right? But thing is, they have neutral morale. All of them have neutral morale, but some of them are... all of them are immune to some spells, but susceptible to other spells. So my logic when it came to summon elemental spell was based on the likelihood that the enemy is going to have those spells that will obliterate you, or how likely would it be for you to be immune to a very common spell or something like that. So let's just take them in order. Like, for example, Air Elemental. Immune to Mind spells, but all of them are immune to Mind spells. So that's no Blind, no Berserker, no stuff like that, right? But immune to Meteor Shower, right? Now, Meteor Shower is a level 4 spell, and you need Wisdom as well to be able to use it, and you need to also get lucky, because it's not like every single game you have Meteor Shower. So, based on this, his immunity, it might not come into play many times it might not come into play, right? That's the issue. And also, there are no, you have those shrines on the adventure map that give you spells, but there's nothing that gives you a level 4 spell, I'm pretty sure. The Pyramid gives you a level 5 spell. The shrines give you 1 through 3, but there's no such thing as a level 4 shrine or something like that. So this could be kind of useless, right? Storm and and the Lightning Bolt do 2x damage. Now the thing is, Elemental Storm is still kind of very situational, and it's difficult to even use it. But Lightning Bolt, bro, everybody has Lightning Bolt, right? And the Lightning Bolt deals 25x power, so 2 times the damage is 50x power, man. That's like an Armageddon on a singular target. This guy gets destroyed, right? Unless you have a lot of them, but that's true for even, I don't know, even goblins or something. If you have 1,000 goblins, well, but still. So because of this guy's kind of bad from my point of view. Even the damage range, unless you bless him, but even that's an opportunity cost, right? It's like, if you bless the Air Elemental, you don't do anything else. So you need to ensure that you have a ton of dudes for that to make sense, right? Because if I have like 10 Air Elementals and I bless them, it's something, but I might as well just cross my fingers and hey, come on, let's get lucky, right? And maybe I get the higher end of that damage range. So this guy's kind of relatively bad compared to the other ones, probably. Anyway, Earth Elemental. Obviously, even the hit points are different here. This guy's slow, so that's kind of bad, right? Very fast could come in handy just because of that initiative. There are too many variables here, but let me just go through these quickly, right? This guy, better stats, damage range is more reliable, let's say, but it's kind of the same thing, isn't it? Even though this guy has potential to get lucky or unlucky, whatever. So this guy's immune to Lightning Bolt and Storm, so it's immune to this guy's vulnerabilities. However, his vulnerability is Meteor Shower. Now, again, Meteor Shower as a vulnerability, I could accept that, because who has Meteor Shower? And also, who uses a Meteor Shower specifically for this dude? Because it costs like, what, 15? Just to deal 50x power to this guy. So it's like, imagine how much harder it is for somebody to deal that 50x power that we've seen here with that Lightning Bolt 2x damage, right? It's so much more difficult to pull this off, right? You need Meteor Shower, you need to consume a lot of mana, and you need to do all that just to deal damage to this guy who also has more hit points as well, right? So this guy's way better for sure, right? He's more resistant as well. This guy, like 50x power, already destroys 1 guy per spell power used and some, right? So it's really bad, right? If you have 7 guys, and the guy has 7 spell power, it destroys all of them with the Armageddon, so that's insane. Earth Elemental seems better to me, even though it's slow, but you can make that work probably. Then Fire Elemental, immune to fire spells. Now that's kind of a mean, right? Armageddon is not considered to be a fire spell in this game, so not even that. So fire spells, what? Fireball and Fire Blast, meaning 10x power. Ooh, I'm immune to the thing that deals as much damage as a Magic Arrow. Amazing. Outstanding move. What can I say? And cold spells do 2x damage. So that's kind of bad also, because cold spells, Cold Ray, is kind of accessible, right? It's just as accessible as a Lightning Bolt. That's kind of bad, right? It's but it has a lower damage potential. It's 20x power usually, 2 times 40x power. That's pretty bad. That's like the first target of a Chain Lightning, for example. So this guy can be kind of destroyed with cold spells, but he has more hit points. It's exactly 40, which means that, per spell power used, a Cold Ray destroys 1 Fire Elemental. Yeah, one fire elemental. So that's kind of interesting, right? So these guys could die very easily, but I'm not sure. Damage range is okay. Like, all of these are kind of similar in a sense. It's just, yeah. But this guy's kind of bad, I would say. And then the water elemental, immune to cold spells. That's fine and all, but fire spells do 2x damage. Now that's kind of interesting because fire spells are Fireball and Fire Blast, and they deal 10x power, which is not much, but if you deal 2 times, that means that they become like cold rays. So you could use them, right? 9 spell power for Fireball, for example, just to deal as much as a cold ray. You could see that happening, but yeah, it's still a bit better because these spells are tier 3 and 4, so they're not as accessible, and you need wisdom specifically for that, right? So immune to cold, that's kind of interesting, but it's also immune still to a lightning bolt. Like, you know what? Instead of you using fire spells to deal 20x power, if you have a lightning bolt, you use the lightning bolt, man. Not even close, right? But if it's situational, right? You don't have, you only have Cold Ray, you can't use it against this guy. You don't have Lightning Bolt, but you have fire spells. Okay, but really? I mean, I don't know about that, right? Average speed, kind of bad still. So just because of these vulnerabilities, I would rank them rather than their attack, defense, damage range, or the other ones are kind of important, right? The hit points and the initiative, but still, these guys, I don't necessarily like them that much. From my point of view, I mean, based on stats alone, tier 4, maybe, if I'm being, yeah, tier 4, something like that. So let's think about it, but it might be very debatable. Now, obviously, I might be missing something here because I didn't play the expansion too much, so I have no idea, but let's think about this. So the Earth Elemental seems to be the best, so let's think about that. Also here, honestly, I think that some of you guys are right, like the Minotaur. The normal Minotaur is kind of too high up there, so maybe bring him down a little bit. Seems like it, but you can debate this all day anyway. But the Earth Elemental, so 50 hit points, slow, which is pretty bad. Like, this guy is very slow. I put him very low just because of that, right? But it might be a different case here because these guys can tank some damage. Kind of the same thing, isn't it? Slow, huh? Kind of bad, I would say. Even this guy is kind of average, I think. Average speed, just, yeah. Also, he's vulnerable to Meteor Shower, which is kind of stupid, and immune to Elemental Storm, which is the most situational thing imaginable, but he's immune to Lightning Bolt, which is pretty good, right? So it might be very difficult to get rid of this guy. This guy, you Lightning Bolt him. This guy, what are you going to do? Magic Arrow? Kind of bad. Ooh, it's so difficult because, I mean, slow speed makes him very bad, but I do believe that he's useful. Maybe here, honestly. This guy, that initiative, it kind of destroys me, I would say. So if he would have been average, he would have been pretty incredible, but I don't know, somewhere around here, probably. Then what? The Fire Elemental. So this guy's susceptible to Cold Ray. Pretty bad, right? Pretty bad. But he's fast and immune to fire spells, which is kind of nothing. Cold spells, very accessible. These guys might die very quickly. They're only fast. I mean, that's pretty bad. But at least they're fast, so maybe they got that going for them. But maybe, honestly, maybe just here. Maybe they're kind of in the same position, but just we need to rank them among each other rather than higher or lower. Yeah. Okay. Then what is this? Water Elemental. So fire spells are kind of nonsense. Immune to Cold Ray, I guess, but you can still use Lightning Bolt on this guy. 45 hit points is pretty tanky, I'd say, for this tier. Average speed. I'd say, because you can just Lightning Bolt him, it's kind of like a normal unit. But, average speed, huh? Maybe here. Probably. I think this makes sense, kind of. And then the Air Elemental. So very fast, which is interesting, but at this point, a lot of guys are very fast, though. Damage range is ridiculous, and Lightning Bolt does 2x damage, so that's insanely bad. This guy might be... It's so difficult. Like, initiative is very good, but he dies very quickly. So what are you going to do? Right, ensure the first cast, I guess. But you know what else ensures the first cast? This guy, right? It could be the best one just because of that, but... the enemies will surely have a Lightning Bolt, and that deals a ton of damage. I don't know. I'd say just because of that initiative, sometimes it's good, sometimes if you don't need it, if you don't cast any spell, the worst one, but it could be the worst one. So how do you rank that? I don't know. But still, anyway, some around here are the elementals from my point of view. Not great, not terrible necessarily. Great to have as an additional army, but this is mostly theory, I have to say. Mostly theory. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time.